Timber decks can look great and can really complement your home and garden. But if your deck has been exposed to harsh weather conditions and is starting to warp, fade or crack, then it could be time for you to restore it by cleaning and sealing it. The steps that we're going to be going through today will firstly be testing your deck to see if it needs resealing. Then the preparation of your deck, followed by the application of these products, so that you end up with a beautiful, pristine deck. The first step is to see if our deck needs to be sealed. To do this, we get some water in a bucket, grab some out and flick it onto the deck. If it beads up, everything is fine. But in this instance, as the water's soaked in, we need to reseal it. Other things to check for are loose boards or protruding nails. Also, if there's any cracking or twisting of the boards. If there is, you will need to repunch the nails and you may need to sand the boards as well. The second step in sealing our deck is to choose our materials. Firstly, we need a good sturdy broom. We're going to use this to give the deck a good sweep before we start, and it'll remove any debris that might be lying around on it. Also, we'll use this to help us apply our deck cleaner. This is an important product that's going to help us bring the deck back to its original condition, and there's also many different products available to do this job. Your local Bunnings team member will be able to help you in your choice of these products. As well as that, we're going to need some paintbrushes. We'll use these around the edge of the deck and any awkward areas that we can't get to with our Lambswool applicator. The Lambswool applicator is what we're going to use today instead of a brush on the broader areas. This allows us to do 2 to 3 boards at any time and makes the job quicker, and it also gives us a better finish. Prior to using the applicator though, you need to give it a good brush or vacuum so that you remove any lint or loose material from it. We've chosen to use a natural decking oil today as well. This is a transparent finish, unlike the other products on the market which are stains and will add colour to the timber. Most importantly, don't forget your safety equipment. You're going to need good solid gloves as well as good goggles, especially when using the deck cleaners. But anyhow, that's our materials. Let's move on and we'll show you how to prepare your deck. The first step in our preparation is to remove everything from our deck and to give it a really good sweep. Now that we've swept our deck, we need to clean it. To do that, we're going to use our deck cleaning solution we showed you earlier. We mix this 1 part to 4 parts water. If you're unsure on any of your mixing instructions, ask your Bunnings team member or read the instructions on the back of the pack. Before you do anything, put your goggles on and your gloves. Now that we've mixed our cleaner, it's time to apply it. But just a couple of tips before we do. Be really careful around vegetation such as grass or plants, as this stuff is pretty strong and could cause them some damage. Also, go along with the grain, as it's much easier than trying to fight against the grain. And if you've got any areas of mildew, bird droppings or any extra stains, give them more of a going over as you go along. There you have it, we've finished our cleaning. We need to wait 10 to 20 minutes now before we wash this off with water. So in the meantime, go and grab yourself a well-deserved cuppa, then we'll come back and show you how. The cleaner's done a great job removing the dirt and bringing the timber back to its original state. We're just going to remove any residue now with a high pressure cleaner, but before you use any hose or high pressure cleaners, just check with your local council regulations given the current water restrictions. And don't forget your goggles once again. Now that our deck's dry, we can apply our sealer. All I'm going to do is open the tin up, give it a good stir with a broad bladed paddle, and then pour some into our tray and we can start to apply our deck. Make sure you give this a real good stir and get down to the bottom of the tin. Going to apply the oil onto the pad now. So just by dipping into our tray, shaking off the excess, squeezing out any excess on the front of our tray so that we don't overload the applicator as we go to the deck. Always bear in mind, don't box yourself in. Spend some time thinking about where you're going to start. In this instance, we're going to start on this back edge because as we move forward, we can maintain straight lines and maintain our wet edge as we go across. Now that we've reached this edge, we'll move down the deck by doing 2 to 3 boards at a time. This way, we won't get any dry edges, and which means we won't get any dark and light shadows across our deck. And then from that point, we will move to the front of the deck, doing 2 to 3 at a time in long strokes. Now that I've reached the end, I'm going to have to get the brush out and cut in with this brush so that we can achieve a neat finish on the end. Do 2 to 3 boards at a time is advised. Same thing, mopping up the excess as we come back. There you have it. In less than 1 day, we've cleaned and sealed our deck with its first coat. After 8 hours, the deck will be dry enough for you to walk on, and in 18 hours time, you can put your second coat on. If you're worried about weathering, just remember the water test we showed you earlier. Pour some water onto your deck, and if it beads, it's fine. If it soaks in, you know it's time to reseal it. But in the meantime, sit back, put your feet up, have a cuppa, and enjoy your hard work.